Hello everyone, this is Weather. In this update, we've got a huge storm coming with heavy snow, high winds, Arctic air as a nor'easter develops this weekend. Welcome back everyone, how's it going? Happy Tuesday. We got another packed update this morning. Let's take a pause and go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. If you hadn't subscribed to my channel already, it's easy to do. Just hit the subscribe button and notification bell to get all my daily updates, as I do an update every single morning on this channel to keep you ahead of the storm. So let's get right to it and take a look at the overall next 7-day summary. And you can see these orange shaded area. That is basically an indication of some higher pressures and less instability out here, where it's going to be predominantly warmer than average. And all these blue shaded areas on the central and eastern 2/3 of the US, that is your more instability type atmosphere. That's where your Arctic air is going to be, and all the instability in the atmosphere with rain and some heavy snow that we're going to be talking about, as well as this little blocking feature that's going to play a key role on our overall setup of the storm track that's going to be taking place this weekend. So let's take a look at some of these temperatures and wind chills this morning. This is dangerous stuff, guys. There's a huge area of 20, 30, almost 40 below wind chills. That's frostbite material and 10 minutes or less. And as you sink further south, 30 minutes or less. So a lot of these areas are under these wind chilled advisories and warnings this morning with these dangerous wind chills. That's just an indication another Arctic surge is going to be plunging southward over the coming days. And as we kind of rebounded up to the places in the south, a lot of these wind chills are in the 40s, this morning. So let's take a look at the overall hazard map. And with our first snowstorm, that's going to be their energy pulling down to the midsection of the country. We've got these winter weather advisories. It's snowing in Denver. I mean, these places have been high and dry. You're desperately needing for precipitation. You're finally getting some. So we got some snow flying in the Denver Metroplex this morning with these winter weather advisories, and all these areas in purple here are expected to get anywhere from 1 to 4 inches. You start getting these pink shaded areas, that's when you can be seeing a little bit higher totals on the range of 4 to 7 inches. And yeah, look at New Mexico's finally getting some snow as well. So this mountain like Angel Fire is going to be really happy in that ski resort. Down here in Texas, we've got the indication of these winds kind of turning around. So there's some fog advisories out here. And then you have these little clipper systems that we had that snowstorm, these little clipper systems coming off. This is the leftover effects from that with that lake effect snow. And some of these could be adding up to some pretty significant totals, still taking advantage of some of those warmer lakes out here. But yeah, so I do expect some lake effect snow later on today and through the day today. So as we move into the overall setup for this afternoon, you can see our little snowstorm that's flying into Colorado. That'll start pushing into portions of Nebraska here, as well as Kansas. We had our system down here to the south that brought some much needed rain to central and southern Texas. That has since pushed off into Louisiana and southern Mississippi and Alabama, and eventually will head into Florida this morning with some rain for them. So as we extend the view into Wednesday, getting into the Wednesday afternoon time frame, there's the snow. We'll reach New Mexico by then. Places into Santa Fe start getting some snow. Even as far south as Albuquerque could be picking up a little bit less than an inch. But places in Las Vegas, you're in that 4 to 7 inch bullseye. Get into the panhandle of Texas, there's your Texas snow reaching the panhandle with some light to moderate snow breaking out in the panhandle of Texas. I think this reaches as far south as, say, the Lubbock areas, and then as it pushes southeast, it's going to start to fade. So I think some snow will reach as far south as, say, Wichita Falls and getting into portions of the panhandle of Oklahoma. But yeah, once it reaches the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it's going to be hitting some drier air, and you might see some snowflakes or two, but that's about it. So as we extend and look at some of these totals from our first initial snowstorm in the midsection of the country, yeah, there's that swath of 1 to 4 inches where those winter weather advisories, and underneath that in the pink shaded areas, there's your 4 to 7 inch swath, kind of bullseye. And then there's also another bullseye into New Mexico here, really along the mountain ranges here into Angel Fire. But as you get into the panhandle of Texas, there's that swath of, again, a traced about up to 3 inches of snow with some of those isolated amounts. But like I mentioned, once it pushes into the Dallas-Fort Worth area, yeah, Wichita Falls could pick up, say, an inch from this system. But really, I'm not expecting much of anything in and around the Dallas-Fort Worth area, some along the Red River. But yes, you're lucky or two if you see some flakes, as it's just been bone dry in Dallas. So let's expand the view, because I think it really kind of winds down by the time we get into Thursday. It kind of resets. You can see for much of the country and on the North American view, it's pretty much high and dry. We've got the ridge out west keeping the atmospheric river pretty much tapped off right now. I think it comes back and as we get into the first week of February, but right now you're kind of high and dry out here off the western areas. But as you move into the setup for Friday, I think that's when our storm is really going to be starting to get its act together. So enjoy the lull that we're going to be seeing on Thursday, because things change in a big way as we get into that Friday time frame. Here's our instability down here to the south. So we got that feature that came across. That's going to be combining with this another feature to the north. And as these combine and start to phase together, we set up shop of a low pressure system that's going to be setting up off the southeast coast here. Then as it does that, it rapidly explodes into a powerful storm riding up the east coast. So this is the latest guidance as this sets up off the east coast, and we could be looking at a powerful storm with it rapidly deepening into a significant low pressure drop, dumping some very heavy snow over the Northeast as well as New England. So let's delve into the details on this setup and take a look at the latest Ensemble member guidance of the European model as we get into that Friday, the January 28th time frame. So how you would read this map, the darker reds, that's kind of your higher pressure. I showed you the Arctic air that's pushing south. That's a 1032 Arctic high pressure. Arctic air is your driest air. So a lot of this is sinking air. There's not much instability underneath that type of atmosphere, but it's very cold as well underneath that atmosphere. Once you get into these lower pressures, that's the more instability type atmosphere. The lower the pressure, the more unstable the air is. And then, yeah, as we get into that Friday about noon time frame, 18Z here, yeah, we're looking at a low pressure starting to develop off the Carolina coast. It's about 1,006 millibars right now. Not terribly too impressive, right? But yeah, look at just what happens over the next 24 hours from noon Friday to noon Saturday. We're talking it rapidly deepens into a powerful system. Some of these Ensemble members are dropping as low as into the 950s range. That would be a 50 milligram drop. That's a significant drop. Typically, when you see a drop of more than 24 millibars in a 24-hour period, that's rapid. That's referred to as what they call a bomb cyclone. Basically, it starts bottoming out or bombing out, otherwise known as bombogenesis or cyclogenesis. But yeah, the most common name you hear out there is a bomb cyclone. That's typically where it gets its name, is just when a low pressure system drops more than 24 millibars in a 24-hour period. Anything that or greater than that would be classified as a bomb cyclone. Just let's say when a hurricane rapidly deepens in what they call rapid intensification, kind of the same concept. But yeah, underneath that would be a powerful storm with very high winds whipping the coastline up the I-95 corridor, with basically a blizzard-like conditions taking place into Saturday, going into that Sunday time frame up into New England. Now here's the latest guidance from the GFS Ensemble member guidance. We're dropping down to a 990, so not nearly as impressive, not nearly as significant, but still a pretty significant drop on the latest Ensemble member guidance. So I was going to show you all 4 different top models out there and what we have to work with at this stage. Here's the latest Canadian model. We're down to about a 997. Now, again, this is the Ensemble members. It's not the operational, what runs every 2 times a day or 4 times a day, depending on what model you're looking at. This is a summary of all those model runs on the Ensemble members. This is kind of what you would use this far out, as we're still tracking the ultimate track of this storm with this ridge that's going to be a tracking point as this moves up. So right now we're trying to fine tune this track. So you're going to see shifts in these individual runs from right to left as we move up. So, but we're trying to fine tune this track. But yeah, all indications look like it's a pretty significant storm that's definitely on the table as we get into this weekend. Here's the latest UK Met. Slides the same thing. This one's down to a 982. I don't really have the Ensemble member guidance on this one, but I do have the operational, and this one actually puts it a little bit further into the coast with a 982 millibar below pressure. Either way, all four Ensemble members put a pretty significant storm into the Northeast, into New England by this weekend. So now let's break this down and take a look at kind of the latest GFS guidance, which is almost in the middle of the bottom and then the top range. So let's take a look at this GFS guidance. We have a storm that's coming off the coast. We have going to have a rapidly developing low pressure off the southeast coast. Ahead of that, I think we're going to have some snow flying by the time we get into Friday afternoon. Right, this is Friday afternoon, January 28th here. You got the blues here indicated at the bottom, the graph at the bottom graph of the screen here. There's your heavier snow, and your light to moderate snow starting to break out into portions of Ohio, getting into far eastern Kentucky, far eastern Tennessee, getting into West Virginia, starts breaking out in Pennsylvania, upstate New York, and getting into all of New England and going into Maine here. And then as we extend the view going into that Saturday morning, yeah, there's our low pressure, continues to rapidly intensify. Now we're down to the 984 range, right? This is a powerful low pressure off the coast by Saturday morning. This would be dumping some high winds along the I-95 corridor, extending from essentially Jersey to Delmarva, getting into Long Island, New York City, all the way up the coast here on the I-95 corridor, with the most significant snow in and around the Boston area, Massachusetts area, Connecticut, especially into Maine, are some of the most bullish figures currently right now. But yeah, as we get into Saturday afternoon, that continues to rapidly deepen. Now we're down to a 969, right? You saw the the Ensemble members. So these operational runs are going to fluctuate a little bit back and forth. It'll obviously could be a little bit more significant than what the summary of the Ensemble members imply at the moment. But yeah, a significant storm that's going to be on the table as this would rapidly surge into the Northeast, going into New England with some very high winds, powerful winds, and then very heavy snow on the backside with these darker blues and purples. That would be an indication of those 1 to 3 inch snowfall rates per hour. So this could be a fairly significant event that could be on the table by the time we get into that weekend time frame, and then it continues to rapidly deepen. Now we're down to a 961. So yeah, so you can see this is a pretty significant storm that's on the table as this would continue to dump very heavy snow in and along New England, riding up the coast, going into Maine. I think Maine especially gets crushed from this system. So let's take a look at the overall European Ensemble probability guidance at this stage of the game. And here's an idea from who would actually see, or at least the probability, 6 inches or more of snowfall. And look, that's a pretty good swath of a huge area of real estate this far out in the game on the Ensemble members guidance, saying, hey, we could be looking at 6 inches, at least 6 inches, with all these areas in red basically saying, hey, 100% chance this is going to happen, right? So that's fairly bullish. And as we extend the view and go into that foot range, yeah, still very impressive. Most of the areas around Rhode Island, into Connecticut, into Boston, up the coast here, into Maine, pretty high totals. You typically want to have anywhere from 40% or higher saying, hey, it's a good possibility this could happen. So that's a good, huge swath of real estate saying, hey, we could be looking at possibly a foot of snow from this system. Now let's take a look at the 18 inches. So still fairly significant, even 18 inches this far out on the Ensemble members guidance. So this is a pretty impressive storm that's on the table. And this is Tuesday, so we're talking it's not going to even get cranking up until Friday afternoon, and then really rapidly deepen into Saturday afternoon. So it's still a good 5 days away, right? So we got plenty of time to track this thing. We're just trying to get the overall setup and the placement of this ultimate track. But we know pretty certain, based on the Ensemble member guidance, saying, hey, there's a powerful storm coming up into the Northeast, into New England this weekend, and we just need to fine tune the ultimate track and obviously the amounts as we get closer into the event. So yeah, look at the latest European wind. I mean, if that were to play out, that would be a significant storm. That would be a blizzard hitting the East Coast into New England. Look at those 40, 50, upwards to 60-mile-per-hour winds. Look at Long Island, and that's 96 miles an hour. That would be an incredible storm and devastating storm if that were to play out. And obviously right now, that is actually the most bullish case. So that's, that's not, I'll just kind of show you some of these, runs are pretty significant in itself. But here's a summary, and this is what you would typically use this far out, is kind of weeding out the most bullish case and the least bullish of the, the blend of all the models. And even the blend of all the models are still spitting out some pretty significant totals this far out, up to going into Jersey. So all these areas in pink, anywhere from 8 inches plus. So New York City, Long Island, getting into Connecticut, Boston, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, into the Cape, going up to Maine. These are all fairly significant totals, 12, 18 inches. So even on the blend of models, really significant storm that's on the table. And obviously we'll fine tune this in the days ahead as this system gets a little bit more trackable, as we get a little bit more data in. The mesoscale guidance is not even within range yet, because it's still not within 84 hours out. So we still got a lot on the table with this storm, but it definitely appears a significant storm definitely is on the table, for this weekend. So hey, I appreciate you guys watching. If you like this video, definitely leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the latest update where I protect you before and after storm.